Thank you, choir. You know, when they sing, we need joy every hour and hope every hour and day, you know, that's literally true. I mean, it isn't a figure of speech or an exaggeration. It's really true. It's like a spiritual, emotional, psychological nourishment that we need hope, we need joy, we need positive and good things that fulfill us, that help us to greet the day with vigor and enthusiasm. We need these things. And so it is that I talk today about joy in this season of despair. So turn off the news for a moment and let us think together about joy and our need of joy. Today I continue, my stubborn and perhaps against the trend crusade to focus on joy in this season of political despair. As I begin to talk about joy, let me endeavor to distinguish it from things and emotions that it is often confused with. And one thing joy is confused with is happiness. Let me explain what I think happiness means. Happiness is often defined as a state of contentment and well-being. I define happiness as a state of contentment when everything is going the way we want it to go in every area of our life. So our health, our finances, the well-being of our children or grandchildren, our professional life or our retirement life, our health, the health of our loved ones, everything is going well in every dimension of our lives. And of course, there are a lot of aspects to each of our lives, and when everything seems to be going relatively well, we have this experience of being content or happy. But life is difficult and challenging, as we know, so it is literally impossible that all times, in every situation, in every day of life, everything is going just as we want it to go in every aspect of our lives so that we can feel happy about it. The conditions on which happiness is built are going to be in continual flux. So our happiness may go up or down in accord to how our circumstances are. Another important variable to happiness is our expectations. If we have one car, we might want two. If we have a Toyota, we might want a better car. If we have one home, we might want two. And so it goes. So our finances could be better. The state of our children or grandchildren could be better according to our thinking. So our happiness is subject to external fluctuations and also the variations of our inner needs, our wants, our perceptions of what we deserve and need. At any given moment, it may be the case that not everything is working as we want it to be, but the positive outweighs the negatives, and so we are, on balance, happy or not. People live their whole lives going about trying to make the conditions of their life such that it gives them happiness. But this is not what I am talking about when I talk about joy. Joy is something different. Joy also gets confused with elation. Elation is a state of extreme excitement. We win the lottery. Our child or grandchild gets into Harvard. A child or grandchild gets the very best job. A son or daughter gets married to just the right person, and we are elated. But studies show that people invariably, always, come down from the high mountain of elation and come to earth and settle into a more steady state. For example, there are studies of people who win the lottery and they are absolutely to the moon elated, but in time the realities of life catch up with them and they are back to their baseline of happiness. Like happiness, elation is dependent on external circumstances. Elation is not joy. So what is joy? I think that it is something that happens now in our lives, in our daily lives, or not at all. I think joy is something that arises from what is ordinary, not extraordinary. It requires nothing special, nothing extraordinary, but rather what is utterly ordinary. And I think joy is dependent on our deepening appreciation for every aspect of our lives. It is like the opening of our eyes so that we see what has always been around us in a different way. Joy comes from how we experience each moment of our lives. There are infinite numbers of things to be grateful for. We easily become blind to all the things we take for granted until they are taken away or threatened. I realize now that I should have been much more thankful for democracy now that it is being threatened. To be able to breathe, to have a beating heart, to see a baby smile, to watch the sun rise, to admire a flower in bloom, to have loved ones, family, and friends to whom one may express affection and love, and on it goes. If we have eyes to see and ears to hear, there is an infinite number of things to be thankful for. Joy, I think, also comes from providing something to another person which adds positively to their lives. The feeling that comes from contributing to another person's life without selfish motivation, without personal gain in mind, without any hidden agenda, but just the act of helping another person in some small way or large way on this difficult journey we are all on is something that can bring us immense joy. We must avoid helping others and turning it into overfunctioning or sacrificing our needs for someone else or being a martyr by helping others and so on. To be responsive to, but not responsible for the other is the right balance. But within this framework of moderation and self-care, being helpful to others can contribute substantially to our joy. Being helpful to others in whatever way, large or small, we can, confers a sense of personal value that is joyful, that cannot be gained in any other way. Joy is killed by certain things. And it's not so much the failure to do things that create joy, but it is the things that kill joy that mess up people's ability to experience joy. Joy is killed by the comparing mind. The comparing mind is continually looking at other people and their circumstances. If only I had what they had. If only I could do what they do. Joy is killed by whatever entraps us in negative emotions. Some negative emotions are jealousy, hatred, anger, desire for revenge, fear, despair, disgust, shame, and guilt. Joy is the opposite of these negative emotions. And these emotions can sweep away our ability to even try to experience joy. We cannot go around in life in a state of continual joy. We are prone, and it is inevitable that we experience a wide range of emotions, including sadness, anger, fear, and shame. We are most likely hardwired to experience these emotions and feel in these ways. But the point I am endeavoring to make is that we need to support and nurture our capacity for joy because it is something in us. Have you ever seen a child who is decently fed and is just idling about and is marveling at the world that they are a part of and feeling, you think, some joy? I think that is the state that we are beckoned to return to as adults, not in the context of a child, but as adults return to that childlike joy each of us experienced as part of the human condition. But we need joy and any of the positive emotions, particularly now. I think that right now, millions of people in this country are being daily traumatized by what they view as capricious and cruel actions. Our emotional and spiritual and psychological well-being is under attack. And for this reason, we need to be all the more careful to cultivate, to the fullest extent we are able, the positive aspects of our lives, the joyful aspects of our lives, one of which is our natural ability to cultivate joy. As I explained, joy, as I am defining it, depends not on external circumstances, not on the rise or fall of the positivity of the circumstances of our lives, but on ourselves and on what we can do and how we can approach the world with a mindfulness rooted in appreciation. Joy doesn't require us to close our eyes to what is happening in the world. It enables us to endure and prevail more effectively. Joy is needed in these times, and joy is the antidote to toxic